Hello, everybody. Welcome to the IC Topic Chats for Thursday, June 8th, 2023. Today, we're going to be doing a chat with Susan Wolfe is going to facilitate it. It's on response fatigue and demand overload. This was a conversation that started through the emails that go out through the IC TIG e-group. Um, Marcela Gutierrez brought it up, and she's here with us today. And basically, what happens when people are not responding to us? We're putting out surveys, we're trying to connect with people around focus groups and those sorts of things. So I won't go too far into this because I know Susan has prepared. So, Susan, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Susan hasn't really prepared because Marcella prepared Susan. Let's put it that way. This was her idea, and I was thinking the other day, I've got to prepare, and this beautiful email from Marcella shows up that kind of collected my thoughts and gave me the how to do this and everything. So as much as I'd love to take credit, I have to give credit to Marcella. So thank you so much for not only thinking up this great topic, but also preparing me for it. you
Thank
know,
you,
um,
Susan.
we've all been dealing with a lot of response fatigue and everything else. I know my own story is I was recently doing key informant interviews with a group, and probably 50% of those who signed up, picked their time slot, and signed up for interviews were no shows when I tuned in. And I was like, oh, this is so frustrating. And so, yeah, when this idea of people's fatigue came up, I was like, oh, yeah, this is happening. This stuff's real. So, it's happening with remote data collection. When we think about surveys, focus groups, people are getting really low response rates on surveys, I hear. Interviews, they're not showing up. We also, remote business meetings, people are showing less and less. And I think that, this may be some COVID, some of that sort of lingering effects of the COVID. We were all locked in. We were Zooming like crazy. We were responding to things because it felt good to be able to reach out. Oh, and Marcella says, can we see a show of hands if you're experiencing this in your work? Yeah, it's just really hard to engage people. Anyways, so in getting started with this now, I want to give a couple more minutes for people to get in here, and I'll put this in a few times. I thought this time we could, how many of you are familiar with Google Jamboards? Has everybody kind of used them and stuff? If not, you're going to get a chance to play. I'm going to put a link in a second into the chat. And I have some questions on some Google Jamboards. First is, how do we compete with all those other demands on people's time? The second is, how do we make up for low levels of response and still claim that our evaluation is based on robust data? These are questions Marcella posed, and I thought they were good. How can clients and funders support us to address these challenges? And then I threw in the question, how are we coping with our own fatigue and how are we showing up? How has this affected us as well? So I know I've been tired. I mean, I'll just admit it. I don't know. Maybe it's the not enough vacation, but whatever the case. So there are 4 Jamboards. At the top is the little arrows to scroll through. And I'd like everybody to just take the next 15 minutes or so and here we go, to go ahead, jump on these Jamboards and think about answering, whatever questions you want. You don't have to answer them all, answer what you like, whatever, just have fun with this and share your thoughts. This is our way of everybody getting a chance to say something, because so often there's some of us that talk more than others. So now everybody can talk and we'll have a chance. And let me know if there's a problem with can I change the setting from view only? What?
Yeah, Susan, I can view it, but I cannot type.
You're kidding. I had set this up so everybody could.
It says request edit access. So I guess we would all have to request that.
No, it says here, anybody who has the link can access. Let me see what it.
Underneath when you open it, there's a thing that says view only. click the drop down box there and you should be able to switch it.
Okay, I don't see view only. Oh, you mean the people who are participating?
No, it has to come from you as the developer.
And I want the link editor. Okay, you guys, you should be able to do this now. Thank you.
And if you already opened it, now you need to refresh your page.
Close it, yeah.
Okay.
I'm apparently a Jamboard aficionado.
Ooh, I thought I had this. I was so proud of myself too. I thought I really had this all set right, but it's
great. Now we can do it.
Thank you. I'll put it in again in case new people come in. And you're anonymous on here, so that's the fun part. So even if you think, oh, I don't know if this matters, go ahead and say it. Be brave, everybody.
Oops.
Well done, Matt. Okay, so let's talk about this. How do we compete with other demands on people's time? This is great. I mean, look at all these comments we have. So I'm going to share screen now so that we can all look at it together. As soon as I find, there we go. Okay. All right, now everybody can be looking at the screens together. So look at all these great comments. And I love the pictures people added and stuff. It's kind of cool. Anyways, making sure we're only asking for information we really need. So in other words, keep our surveys really short if we can. That would help. Provide compensation when possible. Yeah, I was only able to offer a drawing for an Amazon card for the thing I did, but it was something. Lean into the purpose of the evaluation, share results with participants, be flexible with modality, make meetings as short as possible and stick to the time. Yeah, stick to that agenda and get her done, right? I like that. Make the process as short and painless as possible. And again, oh, wait. Okay, this is the same. Here we go. Be explicit about how their input will help someone or something that they care about. Make it clear how they benefit. And if they don't benefit, why are you asking them? Oh, that's a really good comment. Why, if there's no benefit to them, why would they? I don't think we can't, there has to be a desire on their part. Okay, I think you're right. Build in evaluation to the program, gathering, et cetera, when possible, even if that means adjusting the program, like adding a follow-up session. Yeah, I've thought about that. I may show up at an end of year gathering and do a few in-person interviews if I have to. We're transparent about the time commitment.
Too, not just change the program.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I've been doing, is having to make some adjustments. Like I was going to do the interviews with one group. Now I'm going to do the second group as well. Transparent about time, commitment, incentivize, and offer accommodations. Focus on building authentic relationships with clients. Try to meet in person or at least initially. Yes. Make our asks as easy to attend, complete as possible. Also make sure what we ask is meaningful to us and them. I did find the relationship part is interesting, because I did find one guy said, can we do the interview in person? So I had to go over to where he was located. Since it's a local evaluation, I said, sure. And I went over and did the interview in person instead of on Zoom. Doing it with all 25 interviewees might have been prohibitive, but making those little accommodations or giving them some choice if it's possible. Find out what motivates them. Add that to the hook, to your methods. Set expectations for participation in the evaluation from the start. If the evaluation commissioner has built a trusting relationship with interviewees and we provide many meeting options, that could help. I like that. Calendly workflow options help provide reminders. I did the reminders in Calendly. That's what I used. And I had the reminders and everything, and they still didn't show. We asked them to complete surveys or commit time to interviews. Yes. What's in it for them? It seems to be coming down to this sort of, make it worth their time, make sure there's something in it for them, compensate when you can, make them feel that connection to why they would want to do this. Why is this worth their time? I think it's coming down to sharing feedback with everyone who is invited to participate. We don't compete, we take a collaborative approach. Well, that's hard to do sometimes, but I like that that's at all possible.
Susan, I don't see mine. I think I don't know if I saved it, but I added that. And one thing my daughter suggested when I was complaining, she said, Mom, why don't you, in the reminders, why don't you just give them a deadline or say your response is requested, or RSVP requested, or time sensitive, so that they have a sense that this is kind of like a, priority, please pay attention. And the minute I put that into the reminder, 4 people immediately responded and apologized for not having responded earlier.
I don't see it. Can you try adding a sticky pen?
Yeah, I don't know if I put it in the next one. I thought I had, but I don't know where it went, but I thought it had to do with asking people's time. So
does anyone have anything they want to say now? We're open for some conversation about this. Does anybody have anything they want to share now, based on these responses? I can't see hands or anything since I'm in presenter here, so. No comments or thoughts? I'll move to the next one. You can always comment later on this one too. How do we make up for low levels of response and still claim that our evaluation is based on robust data? And I think that's a really good one, because it does affect our data when we don't get good participation. Where can we find and rely more on triangulation data? Are there existing data sets that help us use sparse qualitative input as case studies or examples? So yeah, we may need to just use these as examples or something. I switched to using whatever texting app that respondents use most, usually WhatsApp, also private Facebook groups to do focus groups and community discussions. I like that. We acknowledge in the paper the possibility of selection bias. Use appropriate language about what we're supposed to be learning from the very outset. Don't say efficacy if you don't mean it. There's a story behind that comment, I know that. Also, use the literature and data from other sources if it exists. And again, triangulate more on secondary data, published findings, use snowball sampling, let people know they've been recommended by peers and influencers. We need to be upfront with clients when we set expectations for results based on response rates, which do not deliver the numbers we need. Yes. Be transparent. Try and triangulate data as much as possible. 50 survey respondents plus 5 interviews and other equals. Yeah, that's true. Maybe collecting different ways and then pulling it together. I don't think we can make that claim anymore and share our data limitations. Yeah. Set up the evaluation to use multiple sources of data or data from different perspectives. Random sampling with significant follow-up, Dillman style, emphasis on important incentives. More robust limitations, section and methodology portions of reports, realigning expectations. Acknowledge it as a limitation, rely on existing literature and how your results are similar or different. I like that. All these are very good, all of them. Sometimes we may need to focus on acknowledging the limits. Investigate the reasons for low response rates and consider whether that may be reflective of the demographic, the context, or the product program we're evaluating. I also like to explain all the effort that was taken to get a higher response rate. Give a sense of priority in the initial, that, despite the fact that we stood on our head, whistled Dixie, did, 16 special dances, they still wouldn't come. Give a sense of priority in the initial email requesting participation. RSVP required, time sensitive. Yeah, I did. I even said, if you don't wish to participate, please just drop me an email and let me know, and I won't email you again. And I still, only one person emailed and said, I don't wish to participate. And I was like, okay. So it was very interesting going through this process. Anybody have any thoughts about this? I have seen a case where there's been an extremely low response. Someone sent a report out and never acknowledged any of that, just pretended like it was a good report. And it, I was like,
Susan, when I put this out there, I think we're all talking about excuses. We're all talking about, let's explain that we couldn't get the numbers, but we still have to be upfront that what happens to the validity of the conclusions that we draw based on 1/3 of the of the data that we hope we would have available or would have been needed to draw any conclusions. So I said, okay, if a focus group turns out to have 2 people instead of 6, and I only have 2 focus groups instead of 3, is that still a focus group? No, it's not. Now we call it stakeholder interviews, but it's not going to generate the kind of information that a focus group discussion would have generated. So I can try to adapt, but in the end, it's the quality of the data is suffering. And when I go to write that report, I say, okay, this is poor quality. So should we even draw conclusions from it? And the other issue that kind of came up through the chat that is connected to this is, do we bill for activities we couldn't complete? Not because of our fault, it wasn't our fault, but if we said we were going to interview, 50 people and we ended up with 15, I budgeted for 50. Is it ethical to bill for 50 instead of, the real numbers? So even implications for how we think about our billing. But all of those things came up in my mind when I was struggling with this.
Yeah, that is, I see now. I finally got the chat open here. Those
Susan,
are all really, really
I'm
good.
going to go ahead and stop the recording to encourage more kind of people to come on and give conversations. So with that, all right, people in YouTube land, we'll catch up with you later. Everybody else in real-time land, stick around.